So one of the hottest reality TV shows today is Duck Dynasty. And if anybody doesn't know what it's about, basically it's this guy, Willie in the middle. And he is the CEO of Duck Commander, which is a company started by his dad back in the 70s. And their crazy backwoods Louisiana family. So on the flip side, Michael Gebb wrote a book a few years ago about how to think like Leonardo da Vinci. And he determined that there are 7 character traits that make da Vinci one of the most influential geniuses in all of history. And so I was kind of thinking like, all right, well, how can I like illustrate this? And the more I thought about it, like there's kind of a method to the buffoonery on Duck Dynasty. So weird as it sounds, like there's a lot of correlations. Hear me out. So first of all, the first principle is about cultivating an open mind that allows you to broaden your universe and increase your ability to explore it. Willie is always trying to introduce new ideas and methods, and there's some episodes like where he buys a winery where it's obviously about like hijinks and not cultivating thought so much, but at the same time, there's still a reason that Duck Commander has grown exponentially under his leadership. And a big part of it is just how they employ familiar tropes. So on to number 2, which Da Vinci viewed sickness as like the elements of your body being out of order, and then health is when they're restored to some sort of order. And it's a running joke on the show that Willie is yuppified. So like he is so influenced by city life, he can't handle being in the wilderness, like he just can't do it anymore. I know it's a good picture, right? But in the end, Willie always returns to his roots, or the dynamic is restored in some sort of a way, demonstrating that kind of restoration to the natural order of things, even if things are a little bit different, which brings me to the next principle, very quickly, which is called sfumato. And sfumato literally translates as going up in smoke. So it's a metaphor for being able to deal with uncertainty. In Gelb's words, maintaining poise in the face of paradox is the key to sanity. And for the Robertson clan, they prove pretty inflappable when it comes to business and the public. Recently, right? I don't know if you guys heard about this. On Jimmy Kimmel, Morrissey was supposed to appear with the Duck Dynasty guys, and he refused to do it because he thinks they're cruel to animals and all this kind of stuff. And it was funny because their reaction was the total opposite of his, and they were just like, well, that's his life and that's his choice. So, and that relies on the brain's hemispheric proclivities, right? So everybody in the Robinson family has this really different point of view, and it creates a dynamic that really shines through in their business model. And Da Vinci understood the importance of letting your mind kind of travel like through imagination, but still being logical at the same time. So this sketch is Neptune kind of like trying to rein in the waves. Does everybody who Neptune is? He's the god of the sea. So, sorry. But anyway, it's so in that same sort of sense, the way that Duck Commander has grown is like trying to rein in all of these different heads and all of these different things, but all the different mediums still relate somehow to the members of the family. Many studies have shown that success for businesses relies on their ability to be resilient and to react well to change and still be able to learn from difficult experiences. So from the beginning, when Phil started Duck Commander, each duck call is made and tuned by hand. And so even though the company has grown ridiculously since then, by being able to refine all of their processes and things, they've managed to maintain that same quality. Da Vinci said that the 5 senses are the ministers of the soul, and that we use our senses to enhance our experiences, but also our souls. I think anybody who's hunted can probably tell you that your senses are really heightened when you're in the woods, and it's almost like intuition takes over to a sense. And it's experience that clarifies your intuition as you go through these different steps. And it's kind of the same as Da Vinci, who would do thousands and thousands and thousands of sketches of the same thing, but just with slightly different details. So finally, this is the most obvious connection with nature and its ecosystem, and how Duck Dynasty really connects with this final principle for Da Vinci. It's their connection that's built into just the fiber of their business and their livelihood, but it's deeper than that, because it's the ability to see relationships and patterns and to make unfamiliar connections. And innovation, which the first speaker talked about a little bit, it happens when you see connections between things that are completely unrefined or undefined at first, which gets me to my main point through this whole thing. Basically, that it's just possible to live like that sweet, soulful life that Da Vinci talked about in Tuscany, in the Louisiana Bayou, as it is here in Minnesota. And it's just about being cognizant of how the choices we make influence our world.